Yo guys, what is up? Dara is back today with World of Tanks. We're gonna pick up where we left off last time with catching up here on our tree. The slight amount of historical facts they give us in game about such tanks, and my thoughts on each tank. Like I said in my previous video where we did the US, this is to catch up to where I am so that we can talk about each one. There will be videos in the future for all of these other tanks, including my current tank, and it will include gameplay. Alright, so we're going to start here with the... Now, if you're German and you're watching this, please forgive me butchering all the names. Alright, so we're going to start with the Lycan Tracker here. This tank is basically a tractor. I suspect this is a World War I tank. The game is, of course, set in World War II, but you got to start somewhere. So this is, of course, a World War II tank. Starts out, you know, pretty basic, very slow, very hard, very easy to damage and destroy. But this is a Tier 1, and 90% of all your battles will probably be Tier 1, with maybe a few Tier 2 tanks thrown in. So it's not going to be too bad, and it doesn't take long to get out of them, so you're not going to be in them very long at all. We look at our vehicle details. This vehicle is produced from 1930 to 1934. There are 4 prototypes of different armament, crew, weight, and suspension. Suspension features were manufactured. Okay. So basically, you start off with a 33.7 millimeter gun. It's okay. Now, I like this gun. When I upgraded to this 2 centimeter, it was a lot better, a lot more fun. I enjoyed the tank myself for its tier. Was not a bad starting tank at all. It was probably my second favorite next to the US tank. All right, so since this is the shortest tree for me, we're going to SPGs, which is artillery. This is the Storm Panzer, 1 Bison. Starts off, no upgraded gun. So again, you're looking at the same thing as we did with the American Tier 1, where it covered about half the battlefield. But overall, not a bad little artillery piece, coming from a guy who doesn't like playing artillery whatsoever, as you can see from the tree. Look at our facts here. This SPG was equipped with a gun that could fire from the armored enclosure or be removed to fire from a regular gun carriage. In 1940, a total of 38 Panzer Is were converted into the Storm Panzer I model. And what they were calling the Panzer I, or the PZ-1, was basically a pull-behind gun. You pulled it behind a truck to where you wanted it, set it up, and fire. Alright, so we are going to go over here. Let's see, we did unlock, I believe this here was also the artillery piece. That's Tier 2, or Tier 3, that I did unlock. I played a little bit with this tank. It was pretty good. It covered the entire field, even with the stock gun. So, I mean, it was pretty decent. I had a 10.5 centimeter gun. Did, really good damage. Let's see, what was the exact damage on this? Yeah. 53 to 150 average penetration, but your average damage was 410. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Especially in a Tier 3. You can one-shot pretty much anything if you hit them dead on. Like I said, this is called the Wasp, or at least with my pronunciation. The Wasp first saw contact in the Battle of Kursk, Operation Cathedral, and went on to fight on all fronts. Manufactured from 1943 through 1944, with a total production of 675 self-propelled guns and 159 ammunition carriers. So it wasn't too bad. As you can see here, I really didn't play with it too much because it was artillery, and that's pretty much where I started getting really bored with the artillery there. Alright, so now we're going to cover the mediums that I had unlocked here. All the lights into the mediums. Alright, this was the PK Fabala 2. We're called the PZ2. This is a Tier 2 light tank that, of course, took you into the mediums. This was a really fun tank. I really enjoyed it. Once you upgraded to the maximum gun, it was kind of like running around with a machine gun. It carries a clips of 10 rounds. You fire your 10 rounds like da 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 da, you know, and then it has like I believe like a 10-second reload. It reloads another clip of 10. Really cool. At tier 2, this is a highly recommended tank. Also, this is a good tank to elite status out. Where you see the little symbol there, that's what I did. If you cannot afford or do not want to get gold tanks to convert free experience, this is a good one to just elite it out. Go out and own all the tier 1s, all the new guys, and use this to convert your free experience. It is really, really good. Look at our details here. The A, B, C, and F models were produced from March 1937 through April 1940, and from March 1941 through December 1942, with a total of 1,637 vehicles built. So the German army really liked this, I imagine, as an anti-artillery tank. Alright, we're going to move on here to the PZ-3A. Now, this tank, I didn't like. I could not stand this tank, but luckily it's only tier 3. Didn't take too horribly long to grind through it. No, I didn't like really any of the guns. Really did a whole lot of damage. It was tier 3, so most of its competition it got put into fights with were tier 4 and even some tier 5. So I just really, really did not really care for this tank. We will, however, look at the options, or look at the stats on this. It was produced in 1937 with a total of 10 vehicles manufactured. The project was canceled due to weak suspension and inadequate armor. And they translated that into the game pretty well. Because, yeah, this tank just was not for me, that's for sure. Now we get to the PZ-3, or as I like to call it, the Panzer III. This tank was a lot of fun. It was a pretty good tank. I upgraded to the 7.5, which is kind of like a derp gun. It does some pretty good, some really good damage for its tier. And overall, really enjoyed it. Got through it though. You have to grind through them, but this one wasn't too horribly bad. Tier 4 is just one of those rough tiers sometimes, but it was overall pretty good. I have to admit that. Now, if we look at the stats here, so this was used the classic chassis starting from the Azugamaga E. Okay, these words, yeah, I can't even pronounce them. Produced from December 1938 to February 1943, a total of 4,958 tanks were produced. Well, I might as well just say 5,000, and 321 command vehicles were manufactured. So it was a pretty good tank, even in real life. They decided to invest all that into making them. So like I said, this is a pretty good tank. It is fun, and it's not very long grind to the next one, but, being that this one was actually fun, that, the grind wasn't too bad. Alright, then you get to the Panzer III-4. I recently sold this tank. I was talking to some of the guys on the stream, because I was working into these other tanks, and they told me an easier way to get there. However, I really enjoyed this tank, and I'm probably going to go ahead and pick it back up again just for fun. This tank was a lot of fun. It will zip all over the battlefield, and it can do some really good damage for its tier in a tier 5. You can run around, KVs, T1 heavies, all that, and you kind of use it like a good all-around medium tank. It's okay for sniping. It's not as good as the Panzer IV tank as a sniper, but it is pretty good. And just good, let's say, mid-range medium. We go to look at the vehicles here, or the details here. It says the tank was intended to use parts and components of the PZ-3 or Panzer III and the PZ-4 or Panzer IV vehicles. Only blueprints were developed, so the tank was never actually ever manufactured, not even a prototype. But in game, I kind of like it. and I'm going to pick it back up just for fun. Okay, we're going to move over here. Now, this was a line I was taking. I was trying to kind of play with some of the lights here. This is PZ-KPH-W2 Loaches. This tank was horrible. I can't really say much more than that. I despised running this tank around. It did no damage. It was fairly fast. Couldn't take any damage. I just really did not like this tank at all. Look at the details here. It says it was produced in September 1943 through January 1944 with a total of 100 vehicles completed. Another 4 vehicles were converted from prototypes. This vehicle remained in service until the end of the war. So they were probably using it to go after using it as an anti-infantry kind of tank, because this thing really, I know it's a video game, but I don't see this thing even in real life going after anything heavy. That's just my P's and Q's on it. Like I said, everybody's got their opinions. Alright, so now we're going to go down the lights into the mediums, which, now these mediums here are the ones I'm working on going into the heavies. Or previously, those are the mediums going into the larger mediums. Alright, so we're going to look at the PK PT 35. This tank was alright for a tier 2. Again, would not be my first choice, to elite out and use its credits, but it was pretty good for its, for its tier. But again, it's one of those ones I just wanted to get through. So it was okay, but not a suggested thing for fun, in my opinion. It was produced from 1935 through 1938 in Czechoslovakia. A number of 203 of these vehicles were appropriated by the Wissenschatzer of 1938 and were used for 3 years. Again, any Germans listening, I'm so sorry for destroying every word in here. So they did use it in real life. It was built in Czechoslovakia. So, yeah, I don't know. It just was not a good tank. It was not fun. Oh, wait, no, this one was alright. I'm sorry, I was thinking about the next one. No, this one was alright, but it's a grind, That's all there is to it. But you were going up against Tier 1s a lot of the time. So, against Tier 1, it was alright. Then we go, is that the right one? Yeah. Then we went to the Tier 3, the PZ, we'll just call it PZ-38. That's what we're going to call it. This one was okay. Again, not a wonderful tank, not a lot of fun. Just kind of grinded through it. There's really not a whole lot of great things I could say about it. It wasn't horrible, but it was doable, and it's only Tier 3, so it didn't take that long to get through it. Look at our details. This tank was developed for the Czechoslovakian army. However, it was mostly produced for the Panzerwaffe from 1939 through 1942, with a total of 1,411 vehicles manufactured. So far we're seeing a trend here that the Czechs got not as good equipment as the Germans. I'm just saying. Alright, then we go to the PZ-38. This tank was a nightmare. This was probably one of the worst grinds for me in this game, period. No damage whatsoever. I mean, it was like going up against, Tier 5s and 6s with a BB gun. This thing was a nightmare. Some people out there might like it. If you do, kudos, man. More power to you. But me personally, I could not stand this thing. I have nothing whatsoever good to say about this tank. And it seemed to me like it was a very, very long grind, just because it was such basically tortured running this thing. However, getting to the next tank was, it does make it worth it. Developed on a chassis of the PZ-38 in the fall of 1932, this prototype used welding technology instead of rivets. The 250 horsepower engine allowed for top speed of 62 kilometers per hour, and the vehicle was never mass produced. because Germans running around on a go-kart with BB guns would have been more effective than this thing. At least that's what I figure. Okay, enough hate about that tank. Let's move on to the next one. This is the Panzer IV or PZ4. This tank is awesome. This tank makes that nightmare of a tank previously worth that horrible grind. This tank is a blast. Once you get the upgraded turret and the 7.5 long 70 on here, this thing is an awesome tank. It will zip around pretty decent. Not a great top speed, but okay. It really doesn't need it. However, the turret on this thing is phenomenal. Amazing armor on the turret, so you want to play it with a hull down gameplay, which means, you know, your hull or the whole bottom of your tank, you know, preferably in a hole with just your turret sticking up for people to hit, because the turret is incredibly armored. And with the long 70 on it, this thing is a great medium sniper gun or sniper tank. I still have it. I've already got the VK3601 unlocked on it. That's going to go down that tree to get me a Tiger tank, and I'm keeping it to unlock the 3001P, which will go down the other Tiger tree, getting me starting with the Tiger P, which we will talk about those tanks when I get there. But for now, this tank is awesome. I got it fully upgraded, and I love it. Alright, now we're going to go down the destroyer line. This will be the last. We have 4 destroyers to talk about so far. Okay, this could be the Panzer Jag. This was a pretty decent little TD, you know, tier 2. So, you know, you're looking at, you know, a lot of tier 2, some tier 3 battles. Overall, pretty decent, not too horribly bad to get through. And of course, it's short, because it's only a tier 2. From March 1940 through February 1941, with a total of 202 PZ-1 were converted into tank destroyers. The Panzer Jagger 1, this vehicle remained in service until the end of 1941. So it was a pretty nice one. And then you move on to the Marauder 2. Marauder 2, almost exactly like that Panzer Jagger. This thing, a little more firepower, a lot more fun, and a lot deadlier. The only thing you have to watch out again is open cockpit, so you want to, you know, kind of really watch and make sure you don't take hits, because you're not going to withstand them. We look at our details. A total of 576 of these vehicles were built from June 1942 through June 1943. In addition, 75 PZ-2s were converted to the Marauder 2 in 1944. These tank destroyers fought on all fronts until the end of the war. So I really like this thing. This thing was pretty cool. Alright, so we move on to tier 4, the Hitzer. A lot of people really don't like the Hitzer. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. Kind of looks like a big armored turtle. This thing was really good. You had a couple good choices here for guns. You could go with the 10.5 centimeter or the 9.7. One, I forgot which it is here. Let's take a quick look. That one and this one. If we look at both of them here, you can see the damage difference. Now this one over here does 350 damage. That is considered a derp gun. Does an incredible amount of damage. 105 caliber. It just has a really slow reload. If we look at the, where is it? Rate of fire, about 7 rounds per minute. Whereas the 75 caliber, 110 damage, 15 rounds per minute. So you can just pump them out. I preferred the long gun, with more rounds per minute. Let's look at our details here. A light, low-profile tank destroyer designed according to General Hintz Something specifications. The Hitzer was produced from April 1944 to May 1945 with a total of 2,584 vehicles manufactured. This was a real one. On the World of Tanks website, they have a video up where they found a real one, a real life Hitzer, and it's badass. I really like this one. Alright, so we're going to go on to what I have now. Like I said, on these ones on the last one, we're going to see gameplay and get a little more into it. But for this right here, this is the Destroyer Stug 3. I like this tank, this destroyer so far. I've got it fully upgraded, and it's pretty cool. But I'm gonna go into some, like I said, I'm gonna go deeper into these as we go. There's the fact this VK, I'm gonna hold off until get its own video as well. But since I've already, done this one, we're gonna go ahead and finish it off. They're originally designed as an assault vehicle. The self-propelled gun was converted into a tank destroyer, beginning with the F series, a total of 9,265 vehicles of this series, and 1,211 of the Stuff H-42 were produced. So again, it was a real one, and in game, this thing is fast, and it is a lot of fun. But we're going to have some gameplay and some other commentary and some other facts and stuff about that at a later date. So guys, that's going to wrap up our German tree for now. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe the video. And till next time, guys, I will see you in game.